Welcome, sports fans, to another edition of the Top 10 from the Buffoons Sports Talk Network. I'm your host today, Troy Alexander. I've got the whole group of buffoons with me today. I got Jake Hoffman, Alex Campbell, and Phil Milandi. What's going on, guys?
What's up, everybody?
Ooh, look at that! Look at Phil's dance.
The big melange.
Sup?
So, about what do we say? October. It was like I think it was September, October of last year. We did our first edition of the Top 10, and it's just kind of a little playlist that we wanted to get going as a buffoon of just top 10s and just about any sport there is or anything really. So we're kind of just piggybacking off that first top 10 that we did, and that was current top 10 players in the NBA. Obviously, time has gone by. Things have changed. Players have gone up the rankings, down the rankings, in our opinion. So we're here today to throw out our current top 10 players in the NBA. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table, start with 10. We're all going to throw our number 10 out there, throw our number 9 out there until we all work our way down the list. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Sweet. So if you guys don't mind, I'll just throw out my first at number 10. I've got Jason Tatum, number 10.
Whoa. Dang.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of him.
I know you are, and I knew you would have liked this one, Phil. I feel like wings run the league. Some people say it's a guard-driven league. That may be the case, but at the end of the day, in the playoffs, wings win you games, and wings win you championships, in my opinion. So that's why I've got Jason Tatum, number 10. Does anyone else want to take the horns and state their number 10? Phil?
Yeah, I'll go next. For my number 10, I actually put Jimmy Butler.
Dang.
Okay.
From the Miami Heat. I think you just got to just tip your hat off to that guy right there, joining the Miami Heat and bringing them to a whole nother level. Now they're the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, so I'm going to go with Jimmy Butler. The team's definitely different with him on it. It makes a huge impact.
I'll just jump right in after Phil then, because Jimmy Butler was who I had at number 10 on my list as well.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go with one that might shock you guys a little bit, but Jason Tatum was definitely in my top 15, but he didn't make my top 10. My 10th player for this current NBA season, I put Damian Lillard.
Okay. No, and I 100% get that. And just an FYI for everyone listening to this podcast, we are not putting current injured players in our top 10 list. So that would mean we're not putting Steph Curry. I know Curry's played games this year, but he's probably missed about 80% of the league, as well as Kevin Durant. So any injured player that would normally make it, we're not putting in this list. But, yeah, that's actually a really good pick, Alex. Actually, Damian Lillard's my number 9. So okay. I have it in there. It's just different order.
Yeah, it was almost tough to even put him at 10 just with the season he's had.
Yeah, then I'll piggyback off Troy. Damian Lillard was my number 9 as well. Looks like next round I might need to go next because Phil and Troy have had my number 10 and 9 picks.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of you guys. Damian Lillard was my number 9 as well.
So okay. The thing is, the crazy thing about this season, though, is like Lillard's having one of his best seasons, if not his best season ever. And you have to ask yourself, if Curry was 100%, would he have been in there instead of Lillard? I don't even know, because Lillard's having that great of a season. So it's tough, man. I think like the longevity award would for sure go to Curry, but maybe this year we would maybe put Lillard in there instead. But
he's been
crazy. I feel like you also have to factor in the fact that Portland's not winning a ton of games either, though. They're not even in the playoff contention, whereas last year they went to the conference finals, right? So. Yeah,
I'm not really looking at it as like an MVP type list. It's more just a top 10 players list. MVP, then I would look at their team's record and everything like that. But I was just kind of going based off of their personal skill.
Well, he made the top 10 for my list because in his last 12 games, he was averaging 37 points and over 8 assists during that run before he got injured. So the dude was on a tear before he hurt his groin. He definitely deserves to be in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we even started this, I was doing a little bit of research, and honestly, he probably has a case to even be even higher on this list.
No, he does for this year for sure.
Yeah, for this year, absolutely.
All right. Well, Jake, since you've had most of our 9s and 10s, do you want to start off with number 8?
Who did Alex put at number 9?
Oh, I didn't go. Yeah, I didn't go at number 9.
Yeah, he didn't share.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna put Nikola Jokic in there.
You mean Jokic?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair pick. Fair pick.
He's just all around a solid ass player. Yeah, I actually struggled at the 9, so I ended up with Nikola.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got Jokic at number 8. So
Let's stop skipping ahead. Jesus, let Troy manage hosting.
Whoa! He had just asked me, and I bounced it back to you.
Yeah.
So what's your problem here? Talking yesterday about getting off track.
You
are off track.
All right. Well,
Called it.
I actually have Jokic at 8 as well. I actually was bouncing between him and Embiid, and you can make the argument for Embiid any day. This is kind of a toss-up. I really like Jokic. I mean, they run an offense through him. He brings the ball up the court as a 7-foot center, which I don't even know if we've ever seen before. And the guy's just an unbelievable talent. If he could lose 20 pounds, that'd be great. But in my opinion, he's the best center in the game. So I got Jokic 8.
Yeah, I got him 8 as well. The thing that I'm so fascinated by his game is not even the ability of him scoring. It's the fact that he manages to find the open player on the court when you watching the game don't even see it. The guy has just an eye for what's going on around in the game. So he's very impressive, and I agree. He's definitely the best center in the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, can we make the argument that he's probably the best big man passer of all time? Like already, he's unbelievable.
You can argue it.
Yeah. What about you, big guy? Who do you got at number 8?
I had Embiid.
Okay. Why do you have Embiid over Jokic?
As much as I think Jokic is a better, he's more consistent in my opinion. I feel Embiid's a little hit or miss. I feel when Embiid's on, his ceiling is just higher than Nikola's. I think he can do a little more. I just think he's more effective. He's unstoppable when he's trying, it seems like.
Yeah, I've got Embiid over Jokic as well, because for a very similar reason to like what Alex just said too, right? Like I'm not going to put all the blame of what we're seeing in Philadelphia on him. I think that there's way more dysfunction there than just Embiid. You know, I mean, the fact that team isn't winning games on the road against really weak opponents. I mean, Troy, we were talking about that game where they lost to the Cavs, right? I mean, it was just pathetic. I don't put that entire thing on Embiid. You know, I mean, of course, he's one of the superstars, him and Simmons, right? So, I mean, they have to take a lot of the blame, but I think a lot of that's that system and the coaching there and just the environment.
Well, it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brett Brown was out as coach this summer. Rumor has it they are looking around, and in my opinion, I think Embiid's the second most dominant player in the East, like behind Giannis. So, Embiid is for sure capable. It's just I just don't think him and Simmons are a great fit.
So who's your number 7?
Yeah.
My number 7, I've got Luka Doncic.
Dang.
And,
okay, Troy, you're not a hater then after all. I mean, I don't have Luka in my top 10.
I don't have him either.
Wow.
Oh, he's in my top 10.
How is he not in top 10? I mean, the kid is just turned 28. He's almost averaging a triple-double. Obviously, you can harp on
29 points a game.
Yeah, 29 points a game. You can harp on his free-point shooting, and he's never going to be a good defender. But what the guy's doing at 21 years old is insane, and he has the Mavericks in a playoff spot. And yeah, I'm not a hater on Luka, despite what Jake may have thought in the past. But no, my whole thing behind Luka is if people were hating on Westbrook for being a stat whore, you kind of have to hate on Doncic for being a stat whore, and I just don't feel like he gets that hate that Westbrook got. But That's the only reason why I ever say anything about Luka. But who wants to go next with their number 7?
I mean, I had Embiid at 7. So
Yeah, I did as well. And to piggyback off of what you guys mentioned about him earlier, you guys are right. Like he's just inconsistent. That's just the issue. And I agree that it's probably more of a system thing than him. But you probably imagine if he was on an actual different roster and the capabilities that he can do on the court, like he could easily be a top 5 player if he's in the right system. And he's definitely not that in Philly, but you still have to, admire the skills of him.
Yeah, for sure. Alex, who is your number 7?
Okay, so just really quick. I had Luka at 11. So at my 7, hear me out. I might get some shit for this. I might get some positive feedback.
Oh God. I think I know where this is going. Go ahead.
For this NBA season, this year, my number 7 player is Bradley Beal.
Wow. Okay. I was not. I thought you were going to say Paul George. Okay. Why Brad Beal?
Just go look at his stats, man. He should have been an all-star. Let's be real here. He should have been an all-star.
He should have.
If you're going to put Luka there, go put Bradley Beal's stats up next to Luka's and tell me that he doesn't deserve to be at one spot above him.
Well, what about, like, if that's the case, then is Booker in top 10? Because Devin Booker's averaging pretty close to Brad Beal's stats. And for me, Booker's not even a top 15 player.
I have Booker in the top 15.
I have the top 15 as well.
I don't. I'm in top 20.
I don't.
But no,
I probably have maybe top 20, maybe. I'm not a Booker fan.
I just really
hater.
I just really like what Bradley Beal's done this year.
He's averaging 35% behind the 3, which is one of the highest in the league, actually.
Yeah, and he's averaging 30.5 points a game. And what else can you ask from the guy?
Yeah, I should probably retract my Jimmy Butler at 10 statement and probably move Bradley Beal onto that spot or Luka.
I mean, he's just a scoring machine. Go ahead, Troy.
No, man, go ahead. I was just gonna. Nah, you're good. Go ahead, man.
I mean, he does have 4 rebounds. He's averaging 4 rebounds, 6 assists. So he's doing a little bit more besides scoring. But you definitely have a case, Alex.
I think he's a better defender than Luka.
Yeah, they're both subpar defenders. I mean,
they are
probably right, but
Luka's just awful.
I think we can all admit that he definitely should have been an all-star.
Yeah, and I wish Bradley Beal would be in a better situation. Like, can you imagine you throw him on, like, the Thunder or something? Like,
Oof.
Like a team that just has, like, the assets to be able to get Beal. Like, him on the Thunder would be scary. And the Thunder are in the 5th spot right now in the West. They're number 5 seed. So you have to imagine just what that might look like. Okay, what do you say move on to number 6?
I'm excited for this one.
Okay, well then you're gonna like my pick, like Pascal Siakam.
I've got Paul George.
Ooh.
How?
Okay.
How?
Wow.
Wait. Let him talk.
What do you mean how? So because he's had a couple of injuries, that all of a sudden doesn't make him qualified to be a top 10 player when he's one of the best shooters in the league, one of the best two-way players in the league, can defend multiple positions, is on one of the best teams in the league right now.
Okay, I mean that's your opinion. I just don't think 21 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds is enough. But
all right, well, Alex, who do you got?
And he's only played 42 games.
So, I mean, there's only been 60 games probably.
I mean, it's your opinion. I agree. I mean, I had Pascal Siakam there. He's just been a monster this year. All-star. He's just been a stud. But,
go ahead, Alex.
I guess I can't hate on the Paul George one. I just don't think this year he's a top 10 player.
Yeah, initially when I made my top 10 list, he was actually on the top 10, but he was at number 10. But then I went back and forth with him and Jimmy Butler, and I had to give the light to Jimmy Butler just because what he's doing in Miami is amazing. So, but it's nothing against Paul George. I agree with Jake. He's a great two-way player. Great defender.
I mean, he's not taking any attempts this year. He's taken like less attempts this season than he's taking in his career. So I just think that you're not going to see the big fancy like points coming in because they've got a lot of other players that can score. But as far as what they're using him for and the way that he's playing, I mean, he is a season removed from being the MVP almost. He was in the top 3 for MVP. You could argue. So I don't know. I just don't know how you could.
I mean, he averages 16 shots a game. I don't think that's being conservative by any means.
No, but I mean, you're seeing you see a lot of other guards out there shooting 20 to 24. I mean, I think Harden shoots somewhere around 23, 24 shots a game or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, can you imagine if Paul George was
yeah.
Can you imagine? I know, but I mean, George plays the 2 guard all the time. You know what I mean?
But he's 3. Like, naturally, he's a 3. He plays a 2 because his best other teammate's Kawhi Leonard, so he has to play the 2. But in reality, he's better at guarding 3s.
Sure, but I mean, he's also played the 2 for multiple seasons before in other roles, So, I mean, he can play it just fine, and he's a great shooter, great scorer. So, I mean, I'm just saying if he was taking 8 more attempts a game or 6 more attempts a game, shooting almost 40% from the 3 and shoots over that for his career, I don't know. I'm just saying.
All right, Phil, who you got?
Number 6, I had Luka.
Okay.
Luka, I'm just beating a dead horse by just repeating with what you're saying earlier. That was my reason he got, on my top 10 list, averaging almost a triple-double. Guy is extremely young who's going to do great things for this league. So, yeah, he's my number 6.
Yeah, and I just a little more reasoning to sink Siakam in that 6th spot for me is just like, we haven't had basketball, so I've been watching old finals games, and I watched a few games of last year's finals. Man, that Raptors team was so stacked, and Siakam was so good. Like, his length and his ability to make tough shots, and he's become a better passer this year. He's a good defender. He's really taken that next step along with Jason Tatum, I feel like. I know Jason Tatum still has a few steps to go, like his facilitating and his help defense, but
so excited for him.
Have really made huge steps this year, and that's what made me put them in my top 10. So let's say we go on and crack our top 5 now. Go ahead, Phil.
I actually have to go on a pee break real quick.
Okay.
Huge shout out to Bing. If you're watching, thank you. Great drink, but now I have to use the bathroom. So let me do my number 5 real quick, and then I'm going to rush out here, but I'll leave you guys with a beautiful background before I leave. So don't you worry. We'll change from New York to the beach in a second. So my number 5, I actually put Kawhi Leonard. Easily, he's a top 3, top 2. I mean, some people's eyes, he's the best player in the league. I think injuries has played a huge role in my reasoning to put him at number 5. Obviously, the success of the Clippers, I mean, you can argue that probably, but just the people I had in front of him, to me, are doing more of an impact in this year's season than him, in my opinion. So I'm going to put Kawhi at number 5.
Hey, no, that's fair.
All right. I'll just go next, and I've got James Harden number 5.
I hate you. I'll just jump in next. I'll just jump in next and say I'm piggybacking off of Troy's last 2 picks.
Okay. Well, we already know you were going to anyway. So, Jake, who do you have?
Well, this was a really bad time for Phil to go to the restroom because your boy has also got James Harden in that spot.
Okay.
His lack of defense. It was between Kawhi. I'm going to stall here for a second for our viewers here and give Phil a chance to release that stream. But for me, it was a toss up between Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. So evidently, who I've got at number 4, right? And that's Kawhi Leonard. But to me, it was a toss up between the fact that Kawhi doesn't play quite enough games. He sits out right now because of the arthritis in his knee. But then you look at the fact that James Harden doesn't play defense. His team is pretty stacked, but they're struggling to be able to secure one of the top 3 seeds, 2 or 3 seeds, and really when you look at that team on paper, they should easily be able to snag themselves one of the top 3 or 4 seeds. So The way I look at it is James is number 5 and Kawhi Leonard is number 4. So.
Okay, so Alex, go ahead and you do your number 4 then.
Oh, man. At number 4, I'm going to go with Anthony Davis.
Okay. Okay. And honestly, I had to be number 4 too. God, I'm piggybacking off Alex so much now.
I'm glad I said it before you then.
Yeah.
I think the rest of our list is going to match, Troy.
It might. Yeah. I mean, you could even argue that Anthony Davis at times is like a top 2 player in the league. He has those games where like he kind of just floats out there, and it's like you have to wonder like where's his motor at some of these games. But defensively, he's one of the craziest people I've ever seen play defense. Like the guy is insane on defense. And then offensively, I know he's not the greatest 3-point shooter, but he has expanded his game out to the 3-point line. And if he were to get that to go up a little bit, you can make a case in the next year or 2 he might be the best player in the game. You never know.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Phil, we all finished our number 4. Alex and I both had Anthony Davis. And who did you happen to have as your number 4?
My number 4 was also Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he's averaging over 26 points a game, and he's obviously the leading defensive player of the year. So I have to put him at number 4.
Okay. Does anyone want to throw their number 3 out?
I had Anthony Davis at number 3. I think his impact right now. I mean, the Lakers number 1 seed in the West. Exceeding expectations, truly in the regular season there. And his play on both sides of the ball, right? His ability to just dominate the post and the paint, and then his defensive play. So to me I could not put Kawhi Leonard or James Harden above him. If Kawhi played all 82 games and played every single game, I should say, because we're not at 82 games with the lockdown, but coronavirus, but I would say that, if Kawhi played every game, that would be a different story. But because he doesn't, the best ability is availability, right? And so I think the fact that you've got AD night in and night out is.
Say that again for the fans, real quick.
No, that's nothing new. I mean, that's not my.
Troy, do you want me to go before you on my 3rd pick?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, me too.
Okay.
Me too. Okay. Bill?
For my number 3, I actually have James Harden.
Okay. And why do you have James so high?
I know near the end of the season before it went on its lockout, he was struggling a little bit. And I know Russell was shining a little bit brighter than James was before we went on the lockdown. But I mean, he's still averaging 34 points a game. I mean, he's still one of the greatest scorers we've ever witnessed. And, he deserves to be in the top 3, in my opinion. He's a great scorer. He's definitely improved on defense. He's still a top 3 player, in my opinion.
And, I just want to back up a few things you said. I mean, Russell Westbrook has really taken a different approach in this season. At first, beginning of the year, he was really inefficient, still taking threes, and then towards the better half of the season, he adapted and he's taken less threes. He's driving to the basket, and you can argue
which is what he's good at.
Which is what he's good at, right? Stick to what you know. If it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And you can blame that maybe to some of it to Harden, because Harden, it's been on Harden too to take sort of a back seat and say, okay, I know what Russ is good at. Maybe he needs to be taking more shots. So you can make the case that Harden's been a good leader and has given the thrones to Russell a little bit. So it's maybe just something to point out. All right, so this is when it gets dicey, right? So
there'll be some yelling, some screaming.
Right, here we go.
Excited.
That's why I said I'm like ready to hype this thing up.
Who wants to start?
So, I mean,
I'll just say it. I got LeBron James at.
okay. Okay. So, why him?
Well, I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, you can pretty much guess then who would be number one, right? And that would be Giannis. But I've got LeBron at number 2. I think his age right now and what he's doing is super incredible, and it's one of the craziest things we've ever seen. I think it definitely helps solidify him as one of the greatest, not only basketball players we've ever seen, but athletes we've ever seen. But at the end of the day, when you're factoring in the dominance that the Bucks had this season, the dominance that Giannis was having in just 30 minutes a game, to me, it's pretty difficult, right? To not just how do you put him above Giannis? You know, I mean, when he's only playing 30 minutes a night and averaging what he's averaging. Now, to me, there was a huge question mark at the end of this, which was, could Giannis get it done in the playoffs? And, you know, hopefully we get to see that this season. I don't know how it's going to look, but, you know, that's what I want to see. But as far as the body of work in the regular season, to me, it was Giannis, number 1, and LeBron at number 2. But it's right there. It's like 1A and 1B to me, you know?
Right. I mean, for me, it goes number 2, Giannis, number 1, LeBron. I'm not gonna take LeBron out of the number 1 spot just yet. I know Giannis probably had a better regular season, probably a more efficient regular season. But at the same time, I don't count number 23 out of a playoff series. And it's shown that Giannis hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs yet. Until he does, it's going to be very hard for me to put anybody over LeBron right now. And you put the ball in LeBron's hands with a few minutes left in the game and in the playoffs, and you surround him with a few shooters. I mean, what do you do? And it even showed against the Clippers. The Clippers tried taking him one-on-one in the post. He just takes you in the post one-on-one. You try doubling him, he finds a guy out in the three-point line for an open three-pointer. And I saw a stat. He's having the most efficient postseason of his entire career. So, to me, that's like, as a defense, it's like pick your poison. Do we give up the 2 or do we give up the 3 when LeBron's in the post? You have to make that decision. And until LeBron is dethroned in the playoffs by Giannis or someone like that, then I don't think I'm going to be able to take anyone over LeBron. But I'm curious to hear Phil and Alex's picks at number 1 and 2 here.
Phil, what do you want to do?
I was kidding. I'll go. Yeah, I had Giannis 2, and I had LeBron number 1. I think you have to admire, and I've said this before in previous episode, I think you just have to admire what the man has done in his 17th season, being 35 years old. To Troy's point, probably the most efficient regular season in his whole entire career, almost averaging a triple-double, completely changing his position to a point guard standpoint. I mean, I know I sound like a nut writer right now, but he is playing very well, and you have to admire that. And Giannis is Giannis, and to Troy's point, until he actually does something in the playoffs, I think it's still LeBron James as the best player in the league right now.
All right, well, I'm going to go, and I'm going to say that I understood this list as top 10 players of this season, not what have they done in postseasons prior, what are they going to do this playoff. So
it's hard to not put those as part of this list. Like, I know it's supposed to be with what they've done this season, but it's hard that their past doesn't reflect like what they do currently. It's hard not to add a little bit of that.
Absolutely. But if you just look at the man's stats, I'll just do the eye test too. The dude's just a freak. Obviously LeBron has more attributes in certain areas that he can
do more.
He can do more against the defense. But if I'm going based off just this year, LeBron James is my number 2 and Giannis is my number 1.
To Jake's point though, it's like that much, like it was hard,
It is.
I don't think you could go wrong either way.
But if you told me, hey, kind of put a little bit of thought in your mind about playoffs and things like that, of course LeBron's going to be over Giannis. But for my list today for best NBA players of the 2019-2020 season is Giannis number one personally.
Right, and I like Jake said, like you can pick either one for 1 and 2 realistically. It's just when LeBron needs a jump shot, he has that. He has it in his bag. Giannis does not really have that. I know Giannis has improved, but he still struggles mildly from 3-point range. And that's the case. A defense can just – it's so much easier to keep an eye on the whole team you're guarding when the best player on offense can't shoot. It makes things that much tougher on your other teammates. And that being said, like, yes, Giannis has probably had a better statistical season and probably more efficient season than LeBron, but it's like what Phil said also. It's hard to not take into account prior accomplishments. And
yeah, but don't you think that's a little unfair? The dude's 25 years old.
It's not unfair. LeBron made a finals in his 4th year. He beat the Pistons by himself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going to be saying here that Giannis is the greatest player in the game today, he's got to be able to do a little more than just win a few awards.
I hear you.
In my opinion.
I hear you.
I mean, the Pistons were like 3 years removed from the finals. They got through the conference finals, and LeBron literally carried that atrocious Cavs team to 28 straight points scored by himself. And that's the difference between jump shots, right? I mean, when a guy can knock a jump shot down, you have to guard him 30 feet. You can't guard him 15 feet.
I mean, can I just point out something real quick? And I know it sounds crazy, and that's fine if you say it's crazy. But after the last weekend before the league was shut down, when LeBron James went and they beat the Bucks and then they beat the Clippers, I know it sounds kind of like silly, but after that weekend happened and the Lakers beat those teams, like that changed my opinion. Because you saw a vintage LeBron. You saw that he can turn on that switch any given moment. And to me, that showed, okay, LeBron is still the greatest player on the planet.
Yeah, I just look at the fact that this dude's playing 30 minutes a game, and he's literally averaging 30 points, 13.7 rebounds, and 5.8 assists. I mean, it's just freakish numbers.
I guess it's because LeBron's out there being the general. Like, he's facilitating what he needs to happen. So, yeah, he's going to be on the court a little bit longer. And rather than Giannis, I mean, he's just explosive.
If I could throw just a quick stat out there, not that it really matters. When LeBron James was 25 years old, he played 39 minutes a game and had worse stats than Giannis. So I'm just saying, I think that we're being a little hard on the guy for only being 25 years old.
Oh, no, hats off to him. He's amazing.
It's not like he's on the Miami Heat, Lakers, Warriors, like some good teams. He's on the fucking Bucks. Like, okay, yeah, they're a good team, but like, come on, they're the fucking Bucks. Like, let's be real.
Well, I mean,
oh, here comes Troy.
No, Troy's gonna agree that they're a good franchise, but they're still the fucking Bucks.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at Giannis's teammates at 25 compared to LeBron's teammates at 25.
That's fair.
Like,
well, that's why LeBron had to play 39 minutes. You know, like I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, who did LeBron have? He had like Antoine Jameson, like way past his prime Shaq, like Mo Williams in his 6th year. Giannis has Chris Middleton, like Eric Bledsoe. I mean, I don't know. Giannis has a deep team.
Both Lopez's.
Very deep team. Yeah, both Lopez brothers who have been really good this year. Really, really good. I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys, but something about Giannis just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, I just when he's like out there, like dunking on people and like acting like he's like this gorilla and like throwing the ball at people after he dunks on them, I'm like, bro, what the fuck's your problem? Like, come on, dude. Like,
I think he's just trying to establish dominance in the game.
Well, I just want a center to come up and knock the living crap out of him, to be honest with you. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that we should kind of wrap it up because I think we're getting close to our 40-minute mark, and I'd rather let the fans know to like and subscribe and do that kind of stuff. What do you guys think?
Right.
Roll with it.
I agree. And we're also going to be doing more top 10s of these. Like, we're going to translate it over to NFL. Hell, you can even be our top 10 favorite cereals. If you want to hear our top 10 favorite cereals in order from 10 to 1, give us a shout. Email us at buffoonsportstalk@gmail.com. Again, that's buffoonsportstalk@gmail.com. Email
Tensions
us
could
your
fly.
questions.
Tensions could fly.
Wait. Before we end it, is Bullet going to take us out? Literally, like on this?
He's a little tired. What do you think, Bubba? Hey, Bubba.
Yeah, I don't know that he's taking us away today.
Bubba, you want to say bye? Okay, take us out.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
Yep.
Later, guys.
Stay safe.
And lick this pipe.